From Washington to Hollywood and right back to Wisconsin. It's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach. Connecting the dots on the stories shaping our world with smart takes, sharp humor, and plenty of personality.
You know, I really expected more professional behavior from you.
It's news and culture without the noise.
Yeah, I'm on.
Here's Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach.
Dude.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nightlight. Happy Monday. It is a happy Monday because Monday is more or less over for most people. We're just getting started here, but that's okay. I love Mondays because I get to be on the air with Greg Bach and Dom Lee. I am Pete Schwaba coming to you live from Northeast Wisconsin in Christmas City, USA, also known as Marinette, Wisconsin. And he is Greg Bach coming to you live from beautiful Radio Park in Racine. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you asking. How was your weekend?
It was great. We had a beautiful, it was beautiful weather. My wife's family, her entire family was in town. So we went out to eat. We hung out with my mother-in-law and my nephew graduated high school and we went to that party. It was just a big in-law weekend, but it was a lot of fun and it was gorgeous outside. So I liked that as well. Watched a couple fun movies and no complaints. How about you?
Same, you know, well, I mean, we hung out with family, not a big party like you had, but we hung out with family this weekend and got to just, you know, bum around, do some errands and whatnot, get accomplished over the weekend. And so by the time Sunday evening, afternoon arrived, you're like, all right, I've earned this layabout and just sitting around. We watched like 4 movies on Saturday. We watched.
Oh, don't you love that?
I do. And we just kept going and going and going. And one of the movies we watched was the original Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh my gosh.
And that movie is absolutely fantastic and amazing and beautifully shot and just really, really good and considered to be one of the first, quote, horror movies of the time. It's incredibly adorable how, quote, horror it is. But it was fun. There was no getting up. There was just, all right, what's next? All right, let's watch this. All right, let's watch. We also watched a South Korean action movie called The Old Lady with a Knife. It was so good. It was so good. So yeah, it was a good weekend. We had a good weekend.
It's so funny. Like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, I remember watching as a kid and I was scared, but I have to go back and watch it as an adult because the way you described it, I don't remember it. I was terrified. And you know, that was like Jaws before Jaws. You didn't want to know what was under you when you were in water. It was a very scary movie for me.
To this day, like I can go to a tiny lake that's like 10 feet deep. And if anything touches my foot, I'm like, oh, I'm out. It's a shark.
Same. You know what's weird though? I remember I was an RA in college and we were at this retreat, I think somewhere near Lake Geneva. And it's outside, it's night. We're sitting with our feet in the water in the pier. One of our RA colleagues went down to the next property, swam or crept about 300 yards in dark nighttime water just to grab our toes and freak us out. And it did. And we all, you know, those of us he got to jumped. But I'm like, you're out of your mind crawling through that water that's pitch black. You don't know what's underneath you. I had a new respect for him after that.
Well, almost from the beginning of the film, like from the point where they're on the Amazon or just even when they're basically discovering it, I was rooting for the creature. I'm like, you are on their land, their property, their area, and you guys are the ones going, we need to do something. Like, no, you need to leave. You need to just go away. Let Gilman, that's his name, Gilman have his property, have his space, and go away.
I always feel like, you know, there's so much undiscovered stuff in the ocean. Like that's, I know there's space, but deep down, there's places we haven't been to yet. I always feel like there could be some anomaly or some weird creature that they haven't discovered yet that's going to make me his first victim, and that kind of freaks me out.
Oh, okay. Well, way to make it all about you right there. But
a little bit narcissist.
I mean,
on a
there's tons of that. I mean, like there's vast amounts of the ocean we have no idea, and that actually makes me so happy. I don't know why. I just love the fact that there's a whole area of the world that we're just like we have no clue, and probably will never know because of the inabilities to navigate that water. But again, if I'm never taking a trip down the Amazon,
dude, I'm never going down there either. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Dom, how are you, buddy? Did you have a good weekend?
I had a pretty good weekend. I went. I was on the beach. I got a little bit of tan. I needed a little bit of tan. I was feeling a little too pale.
You went back home, didn't you?
No, I didn't go back home. I went to
okay.
West Bend, so I went to my girlfriend's.
okay.
Yeah, I went to my girlfriend's house, and it was pretty fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I had a nice, chill weekend, kind of the same as you, Greg. So it was
Nice.
overall really nice. It was really nice.
Do you
Wonderful.
get along with her parents?
I think so. So far, they haven't told me otherwise.
Okay.
But we'll have to see you in a couple more months, maybe.
Oh, okay.
We're rooting for you, buddy.
That's interesting. Now that I know that there's a month plan or whatever, I want to play-by-play now. I just want to, how are you?
Let's
Okay.
reassess.
All positive.
every month.
Interesting. Well, while you're putting together your plan, Pete, we have something we need to get to.
We have great guests. I'll tell you that.
yeah.
And
Oh,
we've
yeah,
got other
of
stuff. We've got a
course.
lot to cover.
Yeah.
We've got Dr. Alfredo Romero. He is the chair of the North Carolina AT&T State University.
A&T.
What did I say?
AT&T.
Oh, A&T. Thank you, Greg, for correcting me there. I don't know what happened there. Ever since they broke up AT&T in the early 80s, I've had this urge to say AT&T.
Yes.
I
just scream out Ma Bell every once in a
raw
while,
end of
and
the
people are
deal.
like, what?
Dr. Romero will be here at 5:35 to talk to us about what is going on with the economy, because there's all kinds of different indicators and factors at play. I don't totally get it, so I'm sure you get it more than I do, Greg, but Dr. Romero will set us straight. That'll be a fun conversation. And then our pal Daniel Wheeler will be here in hour number 2 at 6:20 talking about the funniest comedian in Oshkosh competition. Oshkosh's funniest comedian. Look at me, Greg. Can you tell it's Monday? He'll be here to talk about that because he's in the second round. And he's also making a movie called My Brother and Bigfoot. So I can't wait to talk. Danny's a fun guest. I just called him Danny. That's my nickname for him. He goes by Daniel. So Daniel will be a fun guest and tell us what's going on. But right now, without further ado, I think we should tell everybody this hour's keyword. Greg, I don't know if you guys forgot this over the weekend, but we are doing a really cool multi-state text-to-win contest here at Civic Media called Accelerate Your Summer. And it's a great contest. We love our text-to-win contest. All you need is the app, folks. That's all you need to play. Text in the keyword I'm about to give you on that app, and you'll be all set. You have a chance to win $100 in cash, as well as a really fun prize package to the Wisconsin Dells. So great daily prizes. And when you play the game and when you text in the keyword, you are automatically eligible for the grand prize, which is a $250 grocery card and a $250 gas card. You can't beat that. And Greg, tell people what happens if they click the link, the confirmation link, when we send it back to them.
Yeah, if we send you back a message and you haven't done it already, you're going to be invited to sign up for whether it's a newsletter or follow us on social media, some way to keep you in touch with Civic Media, and you will get an extra entry. That's just once, period. You don't get it every single time, not every day, just once, but that will increase your odds. So if you see something come through, click on it, go through, follow, like, whatever, get yourself that extra entry, and good luck.
Absolutely. And it's all it takes is a click, folks. Very simple and very easy to play. Just text in this word I'm about to give you. This hour's keyword is raft. R-A-F-T. Raft. I'll just say that again in case the timpani was overwhelming. R-A-F-T. Raft. Text that in on the app, and good luck, everybody. That's a great summer word, guys. Who doesn't like a raft?
I'm down. As long as we're not traveling down the Amazon and there isn't a prehistoric half man, half amphibian creature trying to keep me out of his house.
It could happen.
I'm good.
So text in that word, folks. Good luck. I would love it if one of our Nightlight listeners won. So I'm pulling for all of you guys.
Absolutely.
Just a reminder also, Greg, you've got some big news because you are the proprietor, if you will, of this week's Nightlight Movie Club choice. So
that's right.
What are we looking at?
Oh, we are going to get a good one this time. It's not. It's not action. It's comedy and drama, and it is featuring some of the greatest actors of our generation. And that movie is. Steel Magnolias.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that is one of my most favorite movies of the entire world. I love it. Dolly Parton. You got Dolly Parton, Sally Field, Olympia Dukakis. We got Shirley MacLaine. We've got Tom Skerritt. We got a very young Julia Roberts. Daryl Hannah and other great actors in that film. So yeah, we'll be talking about that in the second hour on Thursday in the Night Light Movie Club. That's what we do every week. We pick a movie, talk about it in the second hour on Thursday, and this week's pick is the classic comedy drama Steel Magnolias.
I have a confession to make. Am I going to cry? I've only seen that movie bits and pieces.
You will.
Along. Okay.
You will. And I can tell you exactly when you will cry. Exact moments. So yeah, it's a
all right.
beautiful
Well,
film.
we'll see if you're correct. That'll be fun. That's like Greg said, hour number 2 on Thursday, Night Light Movie Club. Check it out, folks. We'll talk Steel Magnolias. You have time to watch it if you haven't seen it. I'm going to give it a rewatch, obviously, and watch it all the way through this time. It'll be fun.
And bring some tissues.
Also, our question of the night. We got to get to the question of the night, guys.
I know. It's so much going on. It's jam-packed. It's jam-packed.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Okay, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda.
Question.
Question.
Questions.
What is your favorite movie franchise? The winner of this week's box office, or the number one at the gate this past weekend, was Scary Movie, the 6th installment of the Scary Movie franchise.
Yeah.
It weathered bad
6th
reviews.
or 7th?
I believe it's 6th. I could be. 6th.
Oh, knock it off, Dom.
I knew you saw that.
Well done, Dom.
Happy shit.
It doesn't matter. I don't love the franchise, but the Wayans brothers are working again, and they crushed it at the box office this weekend. $55 million domestically, another $50 million overseas. It's set a record for the franchise and for Paramount Comedy. So that inspired tonight's question of the night. What is your favorite movie franchise? Let us know. You don't just need the app for this one. You could just text us in the old-fashioned text line at 855-752-4842. 855-75-CIVIC, or you can use the app. Or if you're watching the radio on the stream, drop us a stream comment on Facebook, YouTube, or X Twitter, and we'll have a discussion. We'll get
It's
your
officially
text,
the 6th movie. The 6th movie.
That's what I thought.
With a 7th officially greenlit now. So
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's called Scary Movie, and I think that's what the first one was called. I don't,
Scary Movie?
I don't get that. Yeah. Why would you do that?
I don't know. I
Why
didn't write the
confuse
movie.
people?
They don't.
Whatever.
They didn't take any of my drafts.
It worked for, you only wrote 7 pages. That's what you told me earlier.
It's a treatment. Sizzler.
Oh, treatment. That's good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's our question of the night, folks. Be part of the show. We love it when you guys participate.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, we got some news to get to, though, Greg. Lots
We do.
going
I mean,
on.
let's see here. I mean, let's kick it off something very simple and easy. Donald Trump is coming to New York, folks, to see the Knicks, and New York is unhappy.
What on earth is going to happen? What is he? I mean, after what happened on NBC yesterday, and just in general with his low rating right now, I am very curious why he's doing this. I mean, if I were him, I would not set foot in Madison Square Garden.
He seeks attention.
Yeah.
He will get attention, and no matter what it is, he will use it. He will monetize it to a certain extent. He will say the people who booed him don't exist because he won't admit to that, and the people who cheered him will be the loudest people. And that's what happens when you live inside a brain like that. That is just a narcissist, essentially.
What do you think he'll say they dubbed out the cheers or something? I mean, you just never know. But it'll be interesting.
He'll just say he had a great time, and the people who he's more popular than anyone. He's more popular than Knicks. He's more popular. And speaking of that NBC interview, we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll do that next. And finally, a reason for me to watch the finals. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach. We are coming back. I'll remind you the keyword and the question of the night, and we're so glad you're here. It's Night Light on the Civic Media Network.
Hey, this is Robbie Schultz, and you're listening to Night Light with Pete Schwaba.
Hey, and Greg Bach, too.
Greg Bach to TOO, just in case you were wondering. I love what we've done with those tags. That's great stuff. Welcome back to Night Light. I'm Pete Schwaba. He is Greg Bach, and holding down the fort in Madison is Dom Lee. If you're watching on the stream, you can see that we are the Otter Hay Triangle. One of us in northeast Wisconsin, Greg, that's me, Greg in Racine, and Dom in Madison. And it's good to have my fellow triangulates with me, if I can say that.
Is that
a word, right?
Wow. Are those our fans? Our
It should be.
triangulates?
The triangulates.
Yes. Oh, my God. Or
Dude,
the
I can
triumvirate.
see the T-shirt already.
We are the triumvirate. They are our triangulants.
Dude, We are there. I just said dude twice in 30 seconds. I don't know what's happening.
I
It's
mean,
Monday,
just whip out a little thumb and pinky right there. Just what's up? Hang loose, buddy. Hang loose,
Dude.
bro. Be cool.
Be a triangulate. That's what we say. Just a
Worst
reminder, folks.
cult ever.
The keyword for this hour in our Accelerate Your Summer multi-state Civic Media Text to Win contest is RAFT. RAFT. RAFT, as in whitewater rafting. Capitalization is not important, but spelling is.
Someone's gonna text in rafting.
I just noticed that. Do not text in rafting, folks. Under no circumstances. It's too dangerous. Just text in raft. RAFT. So, and you have to do it on the app. Other than that, you're home free and you're qualified to win our daily prize of $100 and a fun little Wisconsin Dells prize package. And you're automatically eligible to win a $250 grocery card or $250 gas card. Those are our grand prizes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Yeah. I'd love to win that, but I can't. I work here.
I know. I have to pay out of my own pocket. Great to have you back, folks. We are talking about some things that are in the news. And yesterday, Greg, I know you saw this. I saw it all over Facebook. I've never had as many people share a story as yesterday when Donald Trump was on Meet the Press.
Yeah.
And just absolutely, he had a meltdown. That's all I can say. It was a meltdown when he was asked for proof about 2020. That the LA mayor's election was rigged, and it just it was hard to watch almost.
Yes. Yeah, because he doesn't have a grasp on reality, and he just keeps on saying, well, when they ask for proof, he goes, I know what I heard. And Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, just said in a press interview today that the conspiracy is so deep, it's almost impossible to prove. What an amazing sentence to say.
That's a quinky dink.
There's fraud. Prove it. It's impossible to prove.
Just trust us.
Are you a lawyer? Because you're a terrible lawyer then, because that's not how anything works ever. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. And here's a lovely touch. Took place in a Wisconsin barn. Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, what city was that in? I know it was when
He was up
north.
He was up north.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I will look that up in a moment here.
Well, it was just crazy because he was asked by the interviewer for proof, and he said, all I have to do is look and I listen. What on earth? What does that mean? Again, that's the same as just saying, trust me.
Yes.
And then he storms off the set.
And because there's absolutely there's no follow-up. I mean, I'm not blaming Kristen Welker. I'm talking about the media in general, the mainstream media. There's no viable follow-up. There's no real holding feet to the fire. It's impossible. He gets to just say that then. He gets to say, because I know it, because I heard it, so deal with it. And you have to, if you want something amazing, check out the GOP governor's primary debate that took place this past weekend with Kyle Clark from their local station. He knows how to ask questions. He holds feet to the fire. He is amazing. He's a great follow, and he's just very straight ahead. But yeah, I mean, of course. And yeah, because, and I truly think because it was a woman interviewing him, he hated it even more because he cannot be spoken to like that by a woman.
And, Kristen Welker held his feet to the fire. She kept asking him, where's the proof? I love that. I don't know where that was, because this started, like what you just said, back in 2016, when the press would not ask follow-up questions. He was so good for ratings, they let it slide. There is much to blame for the mess we're in right now as this administration. And not only that, what jumped out at me was that he criticized ABC News, I think NBC News, and CBS, his own personal network now. He also went after them, and they just fired Scott Pelley, and they're doing whatever he wants to do, and they fired Colbert. There's no sanity right now.
Well, and speaking of CBS and Pelley's firing, Bill Maher decided to weigh in on that as well, and he thought it was a good idea. He's all for it. And what's funny is that he says this thing right here. This is an absolutely amazing. He said that being a 60-minute correspondent isn't, here he goes. I just don't think being a 60 Minutes correspondent is that hard. I don't feel like Scott Pelley was a national treasure. I never liked him. Sorry, I just never did. Companies change hands. People bring in their own people. Their new ownership. You don't think being a correspondent on one of the most respected news magazine shows in history was difficult? You think it was just like your gig where you just crack stupid jokes with B-list pundits?
Well, right. And Scott Pelley's won multiple Emmys. The show has been
Yeah.
on for 58 years. Whether or not you like him I would say he's not a warm personality. Okay, so what? He's doing investigative journalism and he's on 60 Minutes. I don't mind that Maher didn't sing his praises, but I felt like he was just trying to be contrarian. He is so desperately, to me, trying to remain relevant. And I think in doing so, he's crossed, because he was always a big time liberal, and now he's crossing party lines, I think, to try to get more viewers for his show that I don't know what their ratings are, but I feel like he's just kind of not necessarily grifting, but I feel like he's just saying anything he can to be relevant. And that's kind of sad. I used to like that show a lot.
Well, it's funny because Donald Trump called him a low-rating show, and then Bill Maher responded with, well, how about you? You've got 34% approval rating right here. So, yeah, Bill Maher to me is just it's I don't understand why we bother with him, but we're talking about him, so I guess he wins in the one. But
working.
I think saying a 60-minute correspondence is not a hard job to do. You clearly don't understand anything, and I don't understand why we still pay attention, but.
I don't either, but I will admit I watch sometimes based on the guests, but I thought that was a weird thing to say. But anyway, this is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach. We are coming back, folks. Our question of the night is, what is your favorite movie franchise? Let us know. Text in, and we will get to your text throughout the show. Coming up next, Dr. Alfredo Romero. We're going to talk the economy. Don't go anywhere. It's Nightlight with Pete and Greg. Welcome back to Nightlight. Happy Monday, everybody. Glad you're with us tonight. Lots of fun. Great question. Little contest that you guys can win some prizes. I do want to mention, before we bring on our guest, that Jim from Brookfield, please text back in. You texted in a derivation of our keyword, but we need it to be exactly the keyword. The keyword is, for this hour, is raft. R-A-F-T, just raft, those 4 letters. So text those in on the app and on the app only, and you're eligible to win.
He got it. He was being
he
funny.
Did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was
being funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing I don't want on this show. It's any kind of humor.
That's okay. Okay.
All right.
Damn it, Jim. All right. So lots of fun here this hour, and we are about to welcome our first guest of the night. He is the chair of the Department of Economics at North Carolina A&T State University. He joins us tonight to help make sense of our current economy. It's my pleasure to welcome to Nightlight for the first time Dr. Alfredo Romero. Dr. Romero, thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. And you can just call me Alfredo. Also, you're not going to get anything funny from me. My wife told me to avoid trying to be funny. I am not funny.
Well, that was kind of funny, actually, what you just said there.
That's a dry wit right there, sir. That's a dry wit right there.
It's great to have you. Maybe we'll talk guitars toward the end of the interview, but for now, I know I have tons of questions on the economy. You see so many different indicators and trends. Let's start with the jobs that have been added this month and over the last 3 months. I'm always fascinated when I see job growth. A lot of restaurants, healthcare. Are these good jobs that pay, or jobs where people still need to get another job?
That is an excellent question. We are seeing right now that some people are needing to have more than one job to make ends meet. There are still very good, well-paying jobs, and the jobs that we see from the statistics are jobs in healthcare. Our population is getting older, so those jobs are going to be available. Nursing. We are a service economy, so most of the jobs that we have also are in the tourism, in restaurants, in hotels, stuff like that. But for the rest of us that don't have a high-paying, high-quality job, we're finding that it's becoming harder and harder to make ends meet without having to engage in the gig economy or having to have at least another job.
And something Pete just brought up here, the term economic indicators. What is it, when it comes to economic indicators, what is it that we as the general public who don't understand it deeply, what do we get wrong about them as far as when we try to either interpret or understand the current state of our economy?
Yeah, I mean, it is a composite thing, right? So when we're talking about our health, right? When we're being asked about our health, when is it, right? Is it our weight?
Mhm.
Is it our blood pressure? Is it our heart rate? Is it our cholesterol? So the economy has all these things too that combine made the economy. But depending on how my faith in the economy is, I might be more inclined to pay attention to one thing over the other. I can say the economy is doing great because I have a stock market account and it's been increasing over the last few years. And so the economy is great for me. Um, us economists, we look at a handful of numbers to try to get a sense, an idea of how the economy overall is doing, because economists is something that doesn't exist per se. We have to gauge it. We look at whether individuals are having jobs, if they're looking for jobs, whether they're happy at their jobs, whether they have to pay more for the things that they're getting, and whether the economy as a whole is increasing. So we know that's the GDP, whether it's increasing or not. We know that's inflation. We know that's the unemployment rate. But there are other factors that are also part of what we consider the economy, say housing affordability, right? So are individuals able to save enough money to buy a house? Another thing that we look at are the interest rates. So do I need to pay a lot more for my credit card usage, even if interest rates are higher or lower? So we combine all those things into getting a sense of where the economy is. For the majority of people, GDP, inflation, or prices and employment is what they are going to consider to be the economy.
Okay.
Our guest is the chair of the Department of Economics at North Carolina A&T State University, Dr. Alfredo Romero. Sorry, I called you doctor again, Alfredo, but just wanted to give you your just desserts there. So I know the president wants the Fed to cut interest rates. The Fed is not cutting interest rates. If those rates were cut, obviously for buying a home, it's easier, but how does that affect the 1% more or rank and file workers in a labor or gig economy, as you said, here in America?
So for businesses, most businesses are not going to self-finance whatever investment operations they want to have. If they need to expand their plant, they need to hire more people, or they need to acquire a different company or buy more material, buy more machinery, they're usually not going to self-finance. They're going to borrow the money. And then for the profit that they make in that new venture, they're going to pay it off. So for a business, it's easier to engage in all those activities. We call them investment if interest rates are lower. And so the idea behind trying to lower the interest rates is that would foster somehow investment into machinery, investment into capital. The problem with that is that traditionally, when we lower the interest rates, if employments are plentiful, that has tended to cause inflation. So it would be like approaching an intersection, and instead of pressing the brake, you're pushing on the accelerator. And so the idea is that if I lower the interest rate artificially, I'm actually going to exacerbate the rate at which prices are increasing, and I might actually compound the effect of inflation on the economy.
And when it comes to inflation, I feel like we hear people talk about we must look. It feels like we talk about inflation as if we know. And again, I'll go back to the idea of the layperson or the non-expert. We say we need to get rid of inflation or bring inflation down, but we can't and shouldn't get rid. Inflation should never be zero. It should be a certain point, but people don't seem to understand that where we're at, like as far as like a 2% versus 4% versus 0%, those are very different things with very different consequences to our economy. If I'm getting that correctly?
Oh, definitely. And usually the problem there is that we try to relate inflation with prices.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation is not prices. Inflation is at what rate prices are changing. So if something costs $1 and then increases by 50%, so it would be $1.50, right? But that inflation of 50% seems high, but the price level is still low. Mm-hmm. Now, if you go to 1,000 and increase it by 50%, same amount of inflation, now you're looking at $1,500, right? And so inflation is increasing the rate at which prices change, but it doesn't tell you anything about the price level. So if inflation goes for 1 month to 100%, it means that everything doubled in price from one month to the other. And if it drops to zero after that, what would you say? Well, inflation is zero now. So inflation is great. We don't have to worry about inflation anymore. Well, yes, but prices are 100% higher than they were just a few months ago. So the disconnect is inflation rate of 0% doesn't tell me anything about how high prices are. For prices to go back to where they were, inflation would have to be negative for a relatively long period of time so we can go back to the base. So the disconnect right there is, well, do I care about inflation or do I care about the price level? I care about prices. So I want inflation to be relatively low, but to go back to where prices were before, I need inflation to actually be negative. Now, your point is about whether inflation has to be 0%. And yeah, the Federal Reserve tries to set a target for inflation of 2%. And in principle, it means that it's going to allow everybody in the economy to increase prices to 2% in a year. And that gives a little bit of a stability for individuals who say, I can make a little bit of profit in the future, or I can bring more people into this market and start pushing prices up at a relatively consistent level. The problem is that, like you said, if it goes to 3% or 4%, then the amount of time that it takes for prices to double shrinks, right? There's without getting too mathematical, right? There's a formula called the rule of 70. So if you take 70 and you divide it by an interest rate, it tells you how long it takes for something to double in size. So if the interest rate is 10% in your savings account, then you do 70 over 10, that's 7, right? So in 7 years, it would double the amount of money that you have in your savings account. But if the interest rate goes to 20%, so now you have 70 over 20, that's 3.5 years, right? So now in only 3.5 years, you can double the amount of money that you have in savings account. Same thing for inflation. If inflation is 1% per year, it would take 70 years for everything to double in price. If it goes to 5%, it only takes 20 years to double in price. So small changes in the rate of inflation have huge consequences for the way in which prices are changing in the future.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I almost understood all of it. Alfredo, so given this conflict we're in with Iran, I'll just go crazy and call it a war. Grocery prices are up, gas prices are up. I just kind of asked you how it affected us here at home. How does this Iran war affect the economy globally? And is there a residual effect here in America due to a global impact?
It is through the price of energy. I mean, we're still in a world where everything is dependent in oil. We obviously use it for generation of electricity. We obviously use it for the generation of diesel and gasoline. But every single thing in your studio, every single thing in my house is made out of oil, right? Plastic is made out of oil. Textiles is made out of oil. The paint on the walls is made out of oil. Every component in the computer has some kind of oil in it. So if the price of oil increases, the price of every single thing that is made in this world that we created because of oil is going to have to increase in price. Now, for the U.S. economy, what we hear is, well, the U.S. is a net exporter of oil. So why would we be affected by a change in the price of oil if we produce it ourselves? And it's because we compete in a global market. So if China needs more oil, if India needs more oil, they're going to outbid each other to see who's the one that is going to be able to get the oil. And that is going to impact the price of oil all over the world, including the price that we pay for the West Texas Intermediate or the Canadian oil that we get.
Alfredo, we have about a minute before we have to go to a break. I just want to ask a quick follow-up with that. How long, let's say the war ended tomorrow. How long, in your opinion, would it take oil prices to come down?
The timing is not going to be great, right? Because we're getting into the summer time. And so that coincides with summer travel and the barbecues and all that. And then also the gas stations buy the gasoline in bulk. So it would take about 2 weeks to get rid of the oil that they pay at a higher price to get. And then after that, it will start to transition into the lower, cheaper kind of oil that we got. And you still have the uncertainty, the risk factor that insurance companies are going to charge the oil producers or the oil ships to be able to transport the oil, that is going to keep the price of oil relatively elevated to the actual just cost of production.
Wow. Great stuff. That is the voice of Dr. Alfredo Romero. He joins us. He's an economist. We're talking the economy. We'll have a few more minutes with him on the other side of this very short break. And I'll remind you all of what the keyword is for this hour, too, in our Accelerate Your Summer multi-state text-to-win contest. And a reminder that our question of the night, folks, is what is your favorite movie franchise? Text in and be part of the fun. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach on the Civic Media Network. Welcome back. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach. It is a glorious Monday here in the state of Wisconsin. Just a reminder, folks, this hour's keyword in our Accelerate Your Summer text-to-win multi-state contest here at Civic Media is RAFT, R-A-F-T, RAFT. So text that in, and you will be eligible to win $100 cash and a fun prize package to the Wisconsin Dells, and you'll automatically be eligible for our grand prize, which is a $250 gas card and $250 grocery card. So text in that keyword on the app and on the app only, and good luck, everybody. And speaking of gas cards and grocery cards, our guest this hour is Dr. Alfredo Romero. He is the chair of the Department of Economics at North Carolina A&T State University. Alfredo, what wages aren't rising with inflation? When will this come to a head? As an example, I remember like in the late 80s, I think I made $3.40 an hour, and the minimum that was at McDonald's, and now the minimum wage is like double that or something. Like, when will this come to a head? It seems like our economy should be slowing down even more because people just don't have as much money.
Yeah, you're right. And we're seeing that in measures like the consumer sentiment, right? So the consumer sentiment is an indicator, something that tells us something about the economy, that shows that people are just not feeling good about their economic prospects. And that has to do, like you said, with the problem with wages not keeping up with inflation. If everything is, I don't know, 10% more expensive at the end of the year, but my wage is also 10% higher, I don't care, right? So I care about the absolute purchasing power of my money. But if it is not keeping up, and I need to look for a second job, or I can start looking for a better job, and then I have all this news about AI eliminated entry-level jobs or making changing jobs more difficult, then I'm going to feel very uneasy about the economic prospects. Now, hopefully, once this Strait Hormuz thing is over and we can wait a couple of months for the oil markets to come down, then we can see some relief on the pump. We're going to see some relief also with the price of groceries that are linked to transportation costs or refrigeration costs or energy costs. We might see some relief also with the cost of fertilizers and the cost of oil and things like that. So, but that is going to take some time because we individuals, we don't have any power over geopolitical events. So right now, the only thing that we can do is to figure out ways in which we can save some money and cut some expenses, here and there. I drive a car that uses premium fuel. And so every time that I go to fill it up, it hurts me. I feel like I shouldn't be paying that much money for my car. And I'm starting to have ideas like, maybe I don't need to fill it up. Maybe I just need to put $20 in the tank this time, like I used to when I was a college student.
Well, I want to bring it, but we only have a few minutes left here, and when it comes to finding out about the economy, understanding what's going on, finding out real, unbiased, objective information. I mean, in this age of access, it feels like if you type in anything, you get barraged by like AI, you get barraged by social media and all this stuff. If folks just want to learn more about the economy, how they can follow it for themselves, where do you suggest they go to find unbiased, objective information that they can trust so they know about what could be happening in the future, about what they should be spending their money on? Just, are there good resources out there that are just that that help people understand what is happening in our economic landscape?
I mean, I still believe in economic indicators, but I'm an economist. So I'm going to go to the Federal Reserve website and try to see what the latest indicators are going to be. For the rest of us, I'm going to tell you the same advice that I gave my dad. Don't get your news from Instagram. Don't get your news from YouTube. Get your news from NPR. Get your news from some reputable sources that have existed for a long time, that have real journalists pursuing the ideas and fact-checking the ideas. Many of the shows, many of the podcasts that we listen to, at the end, we have some kind of segment where they fact-check the stuff that was said in the show. Those are the ones I would rely more on than other ones. But every time that they send me clips on WhatsApp from Instagram talking about the demise of the dollar in the next 6 months, I just say, just you can trust that. So now for the newer generations, our job is to educate and to do the right research into how to get the right information from reputable sources. I don't know how many names I can throw in the show, but the classic ones are still the ones that I go and check the news from.
Yeah. That's great stuff. We have about a minute left, Alfredo. I'm amazed because I live in a small town in northern Wisconsin, and I took my wife out to dinner about 3 months ago, or she took me out, and we paid $18 for a cheeseburger. Now, there were some bells and whistles, some bacon, some jalapenos, but that's way too much for a hamburger, and the restaurant was packed. And I'm like, how do people in a small town, I know they don't have a ton of money, keep doing this? That's why I asked you when this will all come to a head. How much would you pay for a cheeseburger as an economist?
I would not pay $18 for one. No.
There you go.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Alfredo. Please don't be a stranger. Next time you're here, we got to talk about all those guitars on your wall behind you, because you obviously have a creative side, and I'm sure it's a nice release from talking about numbers all day. But thank you so much, and have a great night.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. All right, that's Dr. Alfredo Romero. He is the chair of the Department of Economics at North Carolina A&T State University. And it was great. Greg, I need to know more about this stuff anyway. And
we all do.
He's a great guest.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. It was wonderful.
And I learned that I shouldn't pay $18 for a cheeseburger. So
never.
We're going to take a short break for the news, folks. When we come back, we're going to ask you, we're going to read your texts. And our question of the night, what is your favorite movie franchise? And you have about 30 seconds to text in this hour's keyword, RAFT, R-A-F-T, on the app. Good luck with that. And Daniel Wheeler joins us in the next hour, too. Lots of fun still coming up. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach on the Civic Media Network.
Trying to make sense of the world? You've got Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach.
Call our toll-free number now.
Headlines, culture, and real conversation.
And now, our feature presentation.
Here's Pete and Greg.
Welcome back to Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network. My name is Greg Bach, coming to you live from Radio Park in Racine, all the way up the coast in northeastern Wisconsin, and Marinette, a.k.a. Christmas City, USA, is Mr. Pete Schwaba. And then across the way, down the Highway 94, as it will, to Madison HQ, is our very own Dom Lee on the ones and twos. And we are the Yadder Triangle, the triumvirate, and you are our triangulants, the folks that are listening out there. We've dubbed the triangulants. I don't know if it'll stick, but maybe we'll get some necklaces. That seems pretty cool. But you are listening and or watching here with us, and we're so happy you're joining. If you missed anything from the first hour, including our discussion with Dr. Alfredo Romero regarding the U.S. economy, you can always go to civicmedia.us/shows, look for Nite Lite, download episodes, and catch up. Listen to them at your leisure. Listen to them wherever you'd like. Download them as a podcast and get informed, have some fun, and then join us for the live stuff. What we're doing right now here in the second hour, there's a lot happening. We're so happy you're with us this evening, including a great conversation with Daniel Wheeler, who is here. He's going to be on the show talking about his movie he's working on called My Brother and Bigfoot. He's also moved on to the second level of Oshkosh's, that's a hard word to say. The possessive Oshkosh. That's Oshkosh's. Oshkosh's funniest comedian contest. That's also taking place too. He'll be in that contest. He'll be here talking about both those things. That's coming up in just a little bit, and then we'll cap everything off with the nightcap, where we talk about what we learned. Get your text messages. Get your thoughts on tonight's question, which we'll restate in a moment. But yeah, we'll be doing a lot here this hour. And if you, whether you participated or not last hour in the keyword for our Accelerate Your Summer Text to Win multi-state contest, don't worry. If you missed it, you got another chance in the 7 o'clock hour. If you did participate last hour, you can do it again. 7 chances per day. So in the 7 o'clock hour, we'll get you another keyword for the Accelerate Your Summer Text to Win multi-state contest, where you are playing for $100 and a Wisconsin Dells prize pack, including also a grand prize drawing, which will be entered into for $250 in groceries, $250 in gas, and that would be super duper fun. So that comes up in the 7 o'clock hour when we are done. And then the whole shebang starts again tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 more chances a day all this week. So get that Civic Media app on your device, text in that keyword, good luck. And let's keep it on moving. And by that means, I think we need to get back to the question of the night. Dom, hit it. In celebration of Scary Movie 6 opening with $55 million at the domestic box office, which is huge, and has greenlit a 7th movie, we want to know from you, what is your favorite movie franchise? Call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842, 855-75-Civic. You can leave a comment on that live stream. We're currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform we still call Twitter. You can also get in touch with us via that Civic Media app. It's not just great for the contest, but you can call, you can text, you can listen live. You can get news on that app. So let us know your thoughts. What is your favorite movie franchise? Right here, right now, we'll be talking about your thoughts throughout the rest of this hour. And Pete, what about you? You are a movie guy. I would say you are a cinephile, and you've seen a lot of. Don't undercut yourself, buddy.
I'm a movie fan, but I would be willing to bet you maybe have seen as many movies as I have, or maybe more. You just mentioned 2 classics before that I haven't seen. So, but yeah, I love movies.
Yeah. So what is the franchise that, like, what's the one that either you can always go to, or the one that just always lives in your heart is like, this is the one for me. This is the one I can, I really enjoy.
I actually, as I so often do, I couldn't decide. I picked 2. One for sentimental reasons, which is Toy Story, because I absolutely loved watching those with my kids, and they're just outstanding movies, especially 1 and 2. And then The Equalizer, the Denzel Washington Equalizer. There's 3 of them.
The trilogy, yeah.
They are all fantastic in their own way. 1 and 2 better, but in 2, where Pedro Pascal was the bad guy, and in 1, the Russian mob were the villains. It's just so great, and he is just an everyman action hero. Not the steroid body, not the crazy, stupid wisecracks to the camera. It's just a great franchise, very well done, and shot beautifully. Yeah. So those are my 2.
It looks like it's time to equalize.
Yeah, right.
I think, really quick, I was thinking about this because I'm watching the show Shrinking on Apple TV right now, and one of the stars is Harrison Ford, and I truly feel like Harrison Ford is one of the best action stars as well, because he is an everyman, and I think one of the most important things when he is in an action movie is he's never good at being in action. And what I mean, like, his characters aren't natural action stars. Like, he's just like, he's the president, or he's like a businessman. So when or a doctor in The Fugitive, he'll be punching, but he'll be falling over. He's like clumsy in his ability to fight. Right. So he looks like a guy who's pushed to the edge, not some guy who's like, well, you don't know, but this guy's been a CIA operative his entire life. But now he's living in upstate New York and he paints. We call him the painter. Right.
There's a reality. Every guy is a trained assassin, and he's the beekeeper, or he's an accountant. Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The bricklayer. That's literally the name of a movie too. Yeah, it's so weird. But yeah, when I think of Denzel Washington and Harrison Ford when it comes to action stars, the reality of it all, it's fantastic. Dom, what about you? What is a franchise? What is your franchise, or maybe a couple?
I was thinking about this throughout the show, and I think I got to go with Hunger Games. I've been watching the Hunger Games for a long, long time. My
Nice.
favorite one's Catching Fire, by the way. I think that's the second one. But yeah.
That's a good
Noted.
one.
Noted. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
But yeah, I love all of them. Mockingjay. I love Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's a great actress. So I got to go. That's an easy one. And I know there's another one coming out very soon as well. I think it's called The Sunrise on the Reaping. So that's a really good one too. So
That's a prequel, right?
it is.
Yes. It's a sequel to the prequel that came out. So
Correct.
It's
Okay.
This one will tell the story of Woody Harrelson's character.
Yes.
It's based
Yeah,
on the
I'm
book,
excited.
and she's been the woman Suzanne Collins, I think her name is. She's been writing these books now. Like once the movies came out, she wrote the prequel book. Then they made the prequel, and the prequel movie was very good. I really enjoyed it. So, that's a very decent franchise right there. For me, like. I think I always have to go back to Star Wars, even though like they're not the most consistent franchise anymore. But for
Maybe
me,
the most prolific for sure.
well, I would say Marvel. I mean, officially, I would say because Star Wars used to have this huge expanded universe that was written by non-Star Wars like employees, but like George Lucas said, "Hey, you can write whatever you want, just don't touch these areas of the lore." And then when Disney bought them, they're like, "Yeah, that doesn't matter anymore. Goodbye." So, I mean. It was before franchises were something we talked about. It's what I grew up with, and there were only 3 movies and some very terrible cartoons. But I would say like Star Wars, and I'd probably say Marvel as well. I love the Marvel franchise, and that's a homework assignment. My goodness gracious, there's so much material.
I'm lost. If I started watching, they all blend together, the ones I've seen anyway, because I just kind of half watched. If I started now, it would take me a month to get through all the movies and really know what happened when. And I kind of feel bad that I didn't stick with it just so I could talk about it intelligently on this show,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, that's the thing too, is I think one of the problems they had is that after the success of Endgame, they said, oh, well, 2 of these movies alone made $4.5 billion. So let's make way more. And they said, okay. And then people were like, this feels like homework. There's just too much happening right now. So I'm hoping they pull back and up the quality, but I like Marvel. And also I'll just throw in there John Wick. I love the John Wick movies.
Oh,
They're
those
great.
are fun, yeah.
They're not, I mean, like the first one's amazing. The fourth one's great. The second one's okay. Third is whatever, but they're still so very fun. So
it's so funny. There's different kinds of like John Wick is a crazy, fast-paced, almost comic book fighting style, whereas the Equalizer, he's that everyman. And the fighting's a little intense and maybe slightly overdone, but I don't know. They're both fun, and if you like action movies, you really can't go wrong with either one.
We're very much in the big era of old man done wrong / kills everyone in front of him. That's the movies people seem to really enjoy right now. If you can't watch Yellowstone, watch Sisu. It's really weird. So before we get to the text messages, we got a call on the line right now. Mike from Milwaukee wants to answer the question as well. Mike, good evening. Welcome to Nightlight. What is your favorite movie franchise?
Hey, good evening, guys. I gotta say Star Wars, hands down.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because it's like expanded to so many different other things. There's just so much content. So I love that. Oh, also, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you check out the Wikipedia page for Marinette, Wisconsin, someone put the Christmas City, USA nickname under there, under media on the radio section. If you guys want to check it out.
Someone added Christmas City to it. Yeah, I forgot to.
It's working.
Mike, thank you so much for calling. Appreciate it. Thanks for reminding me, Mike, because someone texted in last week and they said that it was there. If you go to Marinette's Wikipedia page, the very bottom, our names are on there. Plug in Christmas City, USA, baby.
Dude. I'm just getting started.
You got to talk to a lawyer about copyrighting that thing. Okay,
I'm going to monetize it somehow.
There you go. Make a little dough.
Make some bank.
Wet Papa's beak right here. All right. We got a couple more minutes before we got to get out of here and get to our next guest. Our next guest coming up in just a little bit. Mr. Daniel Wheeler, filmmaker and comedian, will be joining us. But let's get to some text messages on tonight's question of the night, which is, what is your favorite movie franchise? Dom, what do we got?
Yeah, we got quite a few. We got Monica from Mount Horeb texted in saying the Halloween series.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Nice, Monica.
That's interesting. That's a lot of material too.
Yeah.
We got Melissa from Willie Street texting and says, my favorite set of movies are the Arthur movies with Dudley Moore and Liza Minnelli.
Forgot about those. Yeah, that's great.
The first one's great. The second one is like, okay, we can do that. But it's still fun because it's Dudley Moore being a drunk.
Yeah. Being Arthur.
We also have Michael listening in on WMDX says Star Trek is my favorite franchise.
That's
Another
my mama's. Jackie Bach loves a Star Trek.
The go-to. What else we got here? We got John listening on WMEX says Sergio Leone got to love spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Oh absolutely. Yeah, there you go.
It always looks so hot in those movies.
We got Cindy from Appleton texting and says, "Oh my gosh, Pete, Obsession was an awful movie, too violent and gory." Wow, really?
All I've heard is how amazing this movie is. But you know what? Maybe it's not for people.
Yeah.
I don't know how old Cindy is, but I know, Dom, you loved it. My son loved it. Like, young people love it.
I think Cindy is 25.
Well, I'm in my really extremely horribly late 20s as well, and I haven't seen it yet. So, but thank you, Cindy. Appreciate it.
What else we got? Let's do a couple more, and then we'll get to Facebook, and then we'll read the rest of them throughout the hour.
Absolutely. We have Karen texting in from Racine, says favorite franchise, The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, you like some Dan Brown in your life.
Wow.
Interesting.
Let's see what else we got. We got Jim from Brookfield saying, hello, Pete and Greg. I feel the best franchise movie has to be the James Bond series with great actors from Sean Connery to Daniel Craig, classic songs, and the famous opening guitar riff. James Bond is clearly tops.
Thank you.
That song is based off another song, like something like The Sneezer. I don't know. But point is, I'll look that up later. Pete, what we got time for a few messages on the Facebook page. What do we got from the people?
Mike on Facebook says the road shows with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. They did a series of Road to Zanzibar, Road to Africa, all these great movies. Thank you, Mike. Amanda says Scream, another great one, very similar to Scary Movie. Scott Toms, Star Wars, another vote for Star Wars. And Tim Baker, 007. Here's one more. Gregory Paul Smith says Sharknado. Those are great, you guys.
Blocked and reported. No, I'm kidding. All right, folks.
Parade.
All right, folks, we got to take a really quick break, but when we come back, we'll be talking to filmmaker and stand-up comedian Daniel Wheelers, a.k.a. Danny Wheels. We'll be here tonight talking about all the great things, including the Oshkosh's funniest comedian and his new movie coming out. So stick around for that. We are Pete and Greg. This is Night Lite. Stick around. You're listening and we're watching the Civic Media Radio Network.
Woohoo!
Welcome back to Nightlight here on Civic Media. You can always join us. Call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Leave a comment on the live stream. We're currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform we still call Twitter. Still ahead, we have the Nightcap where we wrap things up, talk about what we've learned, and get to your text messages. Speaking of text messages and thoughts on tonight's question, what is your favorite movie franchise? Dom, give us a couple more while we got you here.
Yeah, we got Anna from texting in from Madison, says, my favorite movie franchise are the 3 Godfather movies.
Usually people aren't including that third one. Very, very brave. Very brave.
And we also have Nick from Marshall texting, says, Meet the Parents / Fokker movies, and also Despicable Me / Minion movies.
Nice.
I like Despicable Me.
I love that.
Really good.
And what do we? I cannot not laugh at the Minions. Even I can understand them. Like, this is just hilarious.
Here's our final 3 from Facebook. Brenda says Lord of the Rings. First time we've heard that one tonight. Boris, my pal Boris says, I was hoping for more National Treasures. No, he wasn't. Thank you, Boris.
I'd take one more National Treasure.
And Mary says Oceans franchise or Guardians of the Galaxy. Thank you, Mary Rhodey. Awesome stuff, you guys. Thank you.
A franchise within a franchise.
Yeah.
Man. It's like,
how about that?
That's like 16 franchises.
Sophisticated listeners. I love that.
All right, folks, we are going to get to our second guest of the evening. He is a filmmaker. He is also a stand-up comedian performing in the second round of Oshkosh's. I got that time.
You did.
Funniest comedian. Please welcome back to the show, Mr. Daniel Wheeler, a.k.a. Danny Wheels. Good evening, Daniel.
Good evening, everybody.
How are you this evening? I said it twice. My goodness.
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Well. Thank you.
Excellent. Let's kick things off with Oshkosh's, it's still hard to say, Oshkosh's funniest comedian. We spoke with a gentleman who was in charge of it like last month before round 1 took place. You are going into round 2. Tell us about what you've seen and done so far. Tell us about what's coming up and how people can come see the show.
Yeah. So, being called stand-up comedians, a little gratuitous, I think, for me. I just started like 3 months ago, and it all started when a friend said, "Hey, they're doing stand up at the Plank Road Pub in Menasha," and they had like a bucket, and put your name in there. I'm like, all right, that sounds kind of fun. I'll go try that out. So I did that the past 3 months, and then the third month, Ben Giles, who was on here,
Ben Giles, thank you very much.
yeah, from Laughable Productions. He was one of the judges. It was kind of a Kill Tony setup, and afterwards he said, a slot opened up if you want to join the stage. Sounds come on up. So I thought that sounds like a fun challenge. I'm gonna go for it. So
nice,
dude. Whenever I hear I'm gonna give, this is a compliment. Whenever I hear a stand-up comic who says he's been doing it 3 months, usually that's followed by, nobody can follow me. I can't believe how fast I'm moving through the industry. You are not that guy at all. You're an artist first, and I've seen some of the clips you've sent me over Facebook. You have a very different style, and I think that's what allows you to have success earlier, because you kind of have this apathetic attitude, like you're an artist. You don't live and die with each joke or word you put forth. How does that affect, in a comedy contest? I feel like you have to come out and bang. And I did one years and years ago when I first started. How does your style play in a comedy contest, or how has it so far?
I mean, each time I haven't honed my set. I've wanted to do something new each time, kind of treat it improv,
Yeah.
And give it a kind of, well, for this next one, I'm doing a kind of a linear, humorous kind of Mike Birbiglia kind of
like
fashion.
Storytelling.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's all around going snow tubing with my son this winter break at Nordic Mountain, and so lots of humorous little pauses along the story. But some of the ones I did at Plank Road, the second one I did, the challenge was to see how much I could swear, and I made a paper bag puppet. And he and I were supposed to do a routine together, but he wasn't talking, and I got into it with him, and I found out that he had tried to sleep with my wife. We got in a big fight. I ended up throwing him across the bar, and some people were laughing. Some were like, "What is going on?" So you're right. I do have the ability to just, I'm not looking to try and hit the road with this. I'm just having fun with it, kind of keeping my chops tight for the comedy film that I'm working on now.
Are you keeping an eye on your wife when she's around paper products now, or how do you feel about all that?
Yeah, no, she said she didn't.
Oh boy, it sounds like, Daniel, you believed her. Really good. I love that.
I
He
did.
wants to believe her. Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of self-editing from the jokes in my head. Like, nope, can't say that.
Oh man, just let it flow, man. Let it flow. Don't get too in your head. And if someone asks you in like 6 months if you have 30 minutes, just say yes. That's what every new comedian does. Every new comedian within the first year, like, oh man, I'm featuring now. I got 25 minutes. I'm like, you got 4. You got 4 minutes, really, is what you got. Let's just be honest there.
Yeah.
We are talking to Daniel Wheeler. He is an artist, filmmaker, stand-up comedian-ish, storyteller. He'll be taking part in Oshkosh's Funniest Comedian Round 2. We'll talk more about that on the other side of the break, including we'll also discuss his new film, My Brother and Bigfoot, discuss how that's going and what people can expect from it. That's all coming up on the other side. Don't forget, you can always send us your thoughts on tonight's question. What is your favorite movie franchise? That's the question of the evening. Call or text 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. You can always leave a comment on the live stream. We're currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform we still call Twitter. And, of course, get in touch via the Civic Media app. Download it if you don't. We'll tell you why you'll need that for the contest, but that's in a little while, so you got to stick around for those details. But more with Daniel Wheeler when we come back. Go listen to some news. Get informed. Come on back. We're here. It's Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach on the Civic Media Network. Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network. You can always get in touch with us, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Leave a comment on the live stream. We're currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform we still call Twitter. Tonight's question is, what is your favorite movie franchise? Let us know. We'll get to some more of your text messages and live stream messages and all that good stuff in the nightcap coming up in just a little while, where we wrap things up, talk about what we learned, and hear from you. On tomorrow's show, we'll be speaking with Blaine Halverson, who is a data center activist, to talk about an upcoming regional event called Uniting West Wisconsin that aims to push against the building of data centers, which we're seeing tons of. I mean, celebrities coming out of the woodwork now about this one. Brad Paisley's like marching against one in Nashville. But then we'll also be talking to Dan Davies, a filmmaker who will join us to talk about his remake of a cult classic, The Giant Spider Invasion. That's all tomorrow on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach. But right now we are talking to artist, comedian, filmmaker, Daniel Wheeler, a.k.a. Danny Wheels, is back on the show. And before we were talking about your foray into comedy, which is, as you by your statement, very new. You're new to stand-up comedy. You're new to that type of performance. You are an artist and a filmmaker. You're working on a movie right now called, or you've made a movie called My Brother and Bigfoot. Tell us about that. The impetus and what's going on, because that's just a great title.
Thank you. Yeah, that is, we're filming right now for that. So, and I'm sorry if you hear birds in the background. It's like an aviary around me right now. Yeah, My Brother and Bigfoot is interesting film. It's about two brothers, and I play both of them. And literally 15 years ago, I recorded myself doing some kind of YouTube kind of funny stuff called The Bigfoot Hunter. And it was like a video diary kind of thing. And I just had that always around, enjoyed that. And I thought, you know what if, and in the end, that guy disappears in the woods. What if now I play his older brother, and I'm, kind of approached by a documentary crew to do a documentary on my brother, Jonathan Thatcher. And I bring those videos back in as like VHS proof. We find character witnesses, and it's going to be a real Christopher Guest kind of best in show, mockumentary. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Looking to make that a 80-minute feature and, try and distribute that.
Nice. Where are you at with the whole existence of Bigfoot thing?
It's kind of interesting. I mean, when I discovered Bigfoot, like
you discovered Bigfoot? You found him?
Yeah.
He's at a quick trip.
Quiet over there. Anyway,
quiet, Mr. Foot.
It was like 5th grade, and I remember watching In Search Of, and like, what is this Loch Ness Monster? And that creepy 70s music from In Search Of and Leonard Nimoy did not help with the nightmares. But the whole idea of that there was something still undiscovered, I love that, about the idea. Now, do I believe it? No, I don't. But much like I also don't believe in a higher power, but I really want to. I would love to, believe that, have clues and all that. So it's a constant kind of battle between, the more pragmatic side and my artistic dreamer side. So it makes for some fun stories.
There's no reason to get religious here, Daniel. I was just asking you about Bigfoot. So.
Pete Schwaba censoring guests. All right. Well, I don't think it's just an artistic side though either, Dan. I think Dan Cherie. I have no idea. It's also a childlike. You want to believe in those things, and like I want to believe in Bigfoot. I want to believe in all of those cryptids. I want to believe they exist. I was telling Pete and Dom earlier. We watched The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I saw for the first time this past weekend, and it's just this idea of like, oh, this could exist, and then thinking to myself, if they existed, I would never go near them because this is their habitat. This is their world, and I don't want to ruin it for them. But like when I feel the same way. I don't believe in Bigfoot. And the reason why I don't is because if Bigfoot actually existed, it would be on the nightly news. They would say, we have found. Instead, every time there's a TV show where like, we're looking for Bigfoot, at the end, it's the same outro going, well, we didn't find anything this time. Oh, well, so enjoy. Right. Again, I think a lot of people hold that childlike wonder of like, what if it was real? But I think deep down we all know Harry and the Hendersons was not based on fact.
Awkward. Wait a minute.
Pizza Farm.
What now?
All right.
It's true. And I also, as an artist, I love the I love the even the hoax of it. It's almost they're like installation pieces. They're interpretive art when people make these casts of feet and they go out into the mud and they they spend all this time, or the Cottingley fairies, the story of that, or that is just as interesting to me, because what's the impetus behind that for those people to make a story up? Well, you're not getting anything from it. Anything you have to hide till you die that you are part of that. So it's always interesting. Every decade seems to be a swell of Bigfoot, and I don't know what's behind that, if it's just people need something magical in their life.
I like that when I've talked to people, they have a Bigfoot
Dom,
convention
thoughts on that?
here. Pardon?
He said, "Dom, thoughts on this?"
I'm scared of Bigfoot. I'm scared of Bigfoot.
I'm scared of Bigfoot. You heard it here, folks.
Okay.
They call it the people that track him and have these conventions. When I would ask them, "Have you ever seen a Bigfoot?" They'll say stuff like, "Yep, I've seen a squatch." They call it a squatch, like half of Sasquatch, like they're kind of in the know, and they're so confident.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk to them more and go, what proof do you have? Because I'm with you guys. I would love to see the proof. I don't know if I want one to exist or not. It'd be kind of creepy, but hey, if they're out there, they're out there.
Well, I think too is like, I would love for all those folks out there who are sitting in their houses, deep diving the internet on conspiracy theories that are, I feel, truly harmful. I'm like, hey guys, let's go back to Bigfoot and Loch Ness. We got a hodag up north. Let's do this for a while. Like let's cleanse it out, man. Let's just like Earth is round. We all know that. We're good. Let's go squatching. Let's just do some high quality squatching and do this as a community. You don't even have to believe. We can just do this for fun and enjoy ourselves. I think that would be a nice cleansing, and it would be an easy way to pull people out of certain conspiracy theories. Just say, let's go old school. Let's go squatching and go find the Bigfoot.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So two things. When can we see? When do you have a suspected out date, or when you're done filming? And then also tell us that, and then tell us where we can see Daniel Needs to Leave. Our guest, by the way, is the very funny Daniel Wheeler. He is a Fox Valley-based artist and actor, reluctant actor, but a very fine actor, I would say. And now he has added stand-up comedy to his repertoire. So when do you think you'll be done with the Bigfoot movie, My Brother and Bigfoot? And tell us about Daniel Needs to Leave, where we can see it.
My Brother and Bigfoot. So the nice thing about going from shooting a couple short films to this being my first feature is that a mockumentary is, really just a bunch of short films stacked together.
Yeah.
So I can shoot it, a weekend here for this character, a night there for this character, and kind of shuffle it all and post and figure out what the best layout is. I don't have to, set aside 2 weeks and get everybody at a B&B and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next time, but this is a nice bite right here, and I hope to get it done, by Christmas area.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
It's a work in progress too, because like I have ideas for all these characters, but once I get them, then there's a sit down between myself and Dan Davies is in this movie. He's the documentarian.
He's on tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure he doesn't badmouth you as a director.
Yeah, we sit down and we have some deep discussions, me talking about the VHS tapes, and I'm very closed off and reluctant to talk about it. And I'm obviously haven't grieved the loss of my brother. So there's this absurdist humor along the top with real, emotional human, connections below it that I hope at the end people kind of feel a little sideswiped, like, wow, that kind of hit me in the heart there.
Gotta call my brother.
Exactly. Daniel Needs to Leave. Yeah, great.
Can we see it
film.
somewhere?
You got to talk to Craig Knitt. He's
okay.
he's the director and the magical mind behind that. I believe it's still on its festival run. So after that, I would assume he would put it up, for public viewing.
You guys, Greg and Dom, you would love this movie because Daniel is Daniel trying to leave a party, just wants to go home. And every time he gets to the door, there's a beer out of nowhere. He takes a beer.
Yeah,
it's
that's my kind.
A Wisconsin goodbye. It's brilliant. It's so funny.
My pure nightmare. Just because it's like, they want to go. Hey, Greg, what's going? No, leave me alone.
Right.
So you've got Daniel needs to leave. My Brother and Bigfoot. We got stand-up comedy, and this is like a two-parter right here. So under your name on the live stream, it says Art Department Films. Talk about that a little bit, and then also, maybe not working on it right now, but thoughts on like your next project, whether it's film or whatever. Like, what else do you have like going on up here in the dome? Saying, here's something I really want to work on next.
Yeah, well, Art Department Films, I made that LLC when I started making the films and trying to go real legit. And so that's kind of the overall umbrella. Under that, I made a couple of shorts, The Last Witch in Wisconsin and The Voice in the Vessel. And The Voice in the Vessel both are doing real well. One, Last Witch in Wisconsin, you can see on the Art Department films.com website.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Nice. And then, but The Voice and Vessel still on a festival run. So that's
how did it do in Beverly? I know you made the Beverly Hills Film Festival. How did that go?
Went really well. Yeah. Jason Buss, one of the producers and the lead human actor in that, he went out there for that, had a blast. Awesome. Yeah, it did real well. Good reception. So that was such a treat to get that acceptance. Next project, I kind of want to go back to something creepy. Everything's very Wisconsin Gothic for me and has autobiographical elements. So I love the northern woods of Wisconsin growing up playing in there.
Oh yeah.
And so I have an idea for a movie called Pine, and it's just about this creepy kid that's covered in pine sap and pine needles. That's kind of, we find, why is he, befriend this little me out there. But that's a little more ambitious than what I'm looking for right now. So we'll see. It's a growing process.
There you go.
Awesome.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to put Art Department Films website on our show notes so people can check out what you're doing. You can follow you and whatnot. And really quick, we've got about a minute. When is Oshkosh's Funniest Comedian Round 2 happening? People want to come down and check it out?
Yes, it's at the Oshkosh Arena, and it is June 19th. That's a Friday from 7 to 9. I hear tickets are easily gotten at the door, so don't have to worry about, and you save a couple bucks.
Nice. All right.
Well, if you are, buddy,
if you are in the Oshkosh area, support local business, support these events, go see some local comedy, and check out Oshkosh's Funniest Comedian. Enjoy Daniel's performance. Daniel Wheeler is an artist, comedian, filmmaker, all the things. Check out Art Department Films. And Daniel, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we're going into the nightcap where we read the last of the text messages, talk about what we learned, and kick on out of here. So we're almost done, but stick around for the last segment. You are listening and or watching Nightlight with Pete and Greg. Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network. If you want to get in touch, give us a call, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. You can also leave a text with that number as well. Our question of the night is, what is your favorite movie franchise? We are officially in the nightcap, so let's get to the last of the messages, regardless of whether they're in context of the question. We just want to hear from the people. Dom, what are the people talking about tonight?
Yeah, we still got a few more. We got Edward texting in on WMDX, says, I shamelessly enjoy all of the Alien films. 3 and 4 get a lot of guff, but they bring each of these great directors their own distinctive style to the franchise. Yeah. I will not allow the worthless Alien vs. Predator garbage movies to participate in this.
Okay.
Otherwise, great collection.
If it wasn't for Alien 3, I think it was, I don't think David Fincher would be the director he is today, because it was that experience directing an Alien film that turned him into the 200-take perfectionist, anal retentive film director he is today.
If it weren't for that, Gwyneth Paltrow's character's head would still be attached.
Oh, dude, someday I'll tell. I found out a really amazing story about the movie Seven, as far as like how it got made and like the trickery and whatnot. But it's a pretty cool story. But let's keep it on track here, Greg.
yeah.
Let's not pizza farm it for a second time tonight.
And
what else we got?
Greg, this is aimed for you. Kristen Madison's texting and says, I'm so glad you enjoyed Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Universal Monsters are actually my favorite movie franchise. I watch the anniversary set every year around Halloween.
Nice.
And
nice.
That works. We also have another text in coming in. Says, nothing beats seeing a Star Wars movie in the theater, the sound of a lightsaber igniting and the TIE fighting flying across the screen. Nothing comes close. Mm-hmm.
All right. We have any other thoughts? I think Melissa got in touch with us earlier about our discussion with Alfredo Romero.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Melissa from Willie Street texting and says, love this guest. Unfortunately, there are people like John and I who were recently given notice of our site for work. Things were very tough for us both in the coming months. And then she says, unemployment is never enough to cover all your expenses. And then she says, sorry, our company is closing in Madison, to clarify.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Melissa and John. Our hearts are with you, and we really hope it's there's as little pain as possible on that one. I can't even imagine. So yeah, we're thinking of you both. Thank you so much thank you for letting us know as well. I saw there's a couple more on the text line.
There's a few more. We got Shasta listening in on Eau Claire says, Pelly was a war correspondent and Maher is a sellout.
Maher, Bill Maher.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher.
Yeah,
Bill Maher,
yeah, he's an idiot. He's an absolute idiot. I said it.
You know, I'm just going to share a Bill Maher story quick. I got bumped from the Chicago Improv in like 1993 because they wanted to bring Bill Maher in.
Yeah.
I went up to him and met him and shook his hand, and it was that lame, I'm not giving anything in this handshake. That was my only time ever meeting. Yeah, it was like, I'm just holding your hand right now. It was so weird, and he was not personable at all.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Shocking. I'd be surprised if you said, "Oh, he's a really magnanimous guy. He was really, really super sweet and nice. And talked to me about comedy. Gave me a guest set." No, of course not. All right, what else we got on the text line?
We got one more. We got Stefan listening on WMDX says 186,000 average for Biden in 2024. Trump can't even hit the average with his best month.
Oh, yeah, job creation. That's right. And also, it's the projection versus the reality of it all. But
did you get Tyler's text?
There's Tyler and there's Mark left too.
Okay. So. Yes, we also got Tyler. Yes, listening on Columbia County says Jason Bourne. Even the government is afraid.
Yeah.
Oh, those are great. I can't believe nobody said that.
Yeah. And then we got Mark listening in from the sack says there was that song with the lines Bigfoot's coming, gonna get you, Bigfoot is on the prowl. We played that.
Never heard that.
That was scary just hearing you say that, Tom.
Yeah, I'm frightened. I want to go in the woods and. All right, we got a couple more thoughts here on the Facebook page, on my Facebook page. Melissa K, our very own Melissa K, love her to death. Back to the Future and Indiana Jones. Those are, I don't think any of us said that one.
Those are great.
Victoria, my buddy, says Star Wars. Phil says, oh man, hard-hitting questions on a Monday. So many contenders, Spider-Man, both Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. Indiana Jones, notice he didn't say Andrew Garfield. Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, Superman with Christopher Reeves.
Wow.
Avengers, Star Wars. The list goes on. And then finally, my friend Amy says Creed is up on my list as well.
Oh, yeah.
So those are some very fun movies.
Awesome answers.
Yeah, really appreciate everyone getting in touch with us. And we got a couple on the live stream too here. Dale says, I don't know what my favorite would be, but my least favorite are those animated Spider-Man films. Very meh and boring. Okay, to each their own. I disagree, but cool. Bonnie says Raiders.
I love that.
And then Mark says on the live stream, Bigfoot coming 1976, Bro Smith, when the moon hangs high on the breast of the... Well, that's just the lyrics. Okay, give me us the... All right.
We don't have time for karaoke right now.
Exactly. Slam poetry is after the show.
I love the effort, though. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, we got to get out of here, but don't forget, tomorrow we're talking to Blaine Halverson. He is a data center activist discussing his upcoming event called Uniting West Wisconsin. And then Dan Davies, who is in a film with Daniel Wheeler, will be on here talking about his new movie. It's a remake of the cult classic, The Giant Spider Invasion. That's going to be tomorrow. Don't forget, after we are done, another keyword in our Accelerate Your Summer Text to Win multi-state contest. Make sure you stick around for that. Make sure you have the Civic Media app on your device because you need that app in order to participate. You're going to play for $100 and a Wisconsin Dells prize pack plus a grand prize for $250 in gas, $250 in groceries. So stick around for that. Whole thing starts again tomorrow. Good luck. Pete, really quick, what did you learn tonight?
I need to know a lot more about the economy. Alfredo was a great guest, as was my pal Daniel Wheeler. But one of many things. And I'm going to watch the basketball game tonight to see the Trump response. So it should be interesting.
Dom, what'd you learn?
Just I need to know more movie franchises. I gotta watch more movie franchises. I haven't watched enough, so I gotta watch more.
Gotta watch more movies. Yeah. All right, folks. Let's see what I learned here. I learned that economic indicators are great, but we need to know more about the economy to really figure out what's going on. And inflation is highly, highly misunderstood. All right, folks, we got to get out of here. Thank you to Tucker, to Dom, to Engineering Traffic for all the work they do. Thank you to everyone who called, texted, got on the live stream. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. as always. It's time to go say goodnight to the people, Pete.
Good night, Wisconsin.